All right, so we are diving into the world of crypto.
Okay.
And more specifically, the story of FTX. We're going deep with excerpts from Joshua Oliver's new book. It's called Hype Machine. It came out this year. And let me tell you,
Yeah.
this is way more gripping than your average finance book.
It is, really is. I
Thank
mean,
you.
where else are you going to find, like, pension funds?
Yeah.
Rubbing shoulders with a company like FTX?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Oliver starts this whole journey. That's what caught his eye. This really unusual investment choice. He's like, what is going on here? I need to dig in.
Right. It's like pension funds.
Yeah.
Those are supposed to be like the most cautious investors out there.
Right.
So that alone tells you just how much hype surrounded crypto at the time. So to really get this, we need to rewind a bit. Talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum. You know, the OG cryptocurrencies.
The foundation of everything. Right, so Bitcoin. Bitcoin was supposed to be this decentralized currency, this way to bypass the traditional banking system. And then Ethereum came along.
Yeah.
And took things a step further with smart contracts, basically. Self-executing agreements on the blockchain. Kind of like a vending machine for digital agreements.
Yeah. Okay, so it all sounds very revolutionary.
Yeah.
This is a decentralized future of finance. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite that early vision, things quickly became, well, centralized. Huge exchanges like Binance started popping up, raking in billions.
Yeah, Binance was making over $1 billion a month at its peak.
Wow.
And FTX wanted in on that.
Yeah, they wanted a piece of that action.
And that's where I think some of the vulnerability crept in. Because the beauty of decentralization is there's no single point of failure. But with these massive exchanges, you're essentially placing all your trust in a new kind of central authority.
Totally. It's like trading one system for another.
Right.
So we've got all this money flowing into crypto. These exchanges are becoming power players. Everyone's chasing that get-rich-quick dream. Now, throw leverage into the mix.
Yeah.
Leverage itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in the volatile crypto market, it's like strapping a rocket to a roller coaster.
Yeah, basically. Say you think Bitcoin's going to go up. With leverage, you might put down $1,000, but borrow $9,000 more. So now you're essentially playing with $10,000. If Bitcoin goes up 10%, you double your money, $1,000 profit.
Right.
But if it goes down 10%, you just lost your entire initial investment.
Ouch.
It's gone just like that.
Definitely a high-stakes game. And the crazy part is, as Oliver points out, companies like Binance, they were all about growth. Even if it meant cutting corners, they pushed hard and fast, kind of like Uber in its early days, figuring they'd deal with the consequences later.
Yeah, and that move fast and break things mentality, it works in some industries. But when you're dealing with people's money, there have to be some serious consequences.
Absolutely, and boy, did those consequences come back to bite them. So there you have it, the Wild West of crypto. Big dreams, huge personalities, and an environment where risk was practically hardwired into the system.
Yeah.
And speaking of personalities, that brings us to the man at the center of it all, Sam Bankman-Fried, better known as SBF. Buckle up, because this is where the story gets really wild.
Yeah.
SBF is a fascinating character.
He is.
Oliver paints him as this incredibly bright guy, a math whiz with a background in trading, but definitely not your typical Wall Street hotshot.
Yeah, not your typical Wall Street guy.
So, Oliver talks about how SBF was really into this philosophy called effective altruism, or EA. Have you ever heard of this?
I have.
It's all about using logic and reason to maximize your positive impact on the world.
Right, so like, you can apply, sort of.
Yeah.
Almost like an engineering mindset to doing good.
Exactly.
And for SBF, it wasn't just about making money, it was about making a ton of money. So he could give most of it away to causes he believed in.
Right, like he was trying to almost hack philanthropy, applying a trader's mindset to doing good. But then you have this story about his pitch to Sequoia Capital, one of the biggest venture capital firms out there. SBF was playing a video game during the pitch.
Yeah, I read that too. It's almost too good to be true.
I know.
Like this incredibly important meeting, and he's multitasking like it's nothing.
Yeah.
But that was SBF. Brilliant, unconventional, and clearly not afraid to break the mold. And guess what? It worked.
It did.
Sequoia bought into his vision.
Yeah.
Along with a whole wave of other investors.
Right. Everybody was caught up in this crypto gold rush. Nobody wanted to miss out on the next big thing. And Oliver explains how the venture capital world thrives on this this FOMO, this fear of missing out.
Right.
Imagine the pressure of being the investor who passed on the next Google or Amazon.
Exactly. You don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So you end up making some pretty irrational decisions sometimes.
Right.
Because you're just chasing the hype.
And SBF knew how to play that game. FTX was everywhere, sponsoring stadiums, running Super Bowl ads with Tom Brady. They even got Larry David to poke fun at crypto skeptics.
Yeah, they were going for mainstream respectability,
Totally.
aligning themselves with these household names.
It was a full-on charm offensive.
It really was.
And it worked. At that point, SBF was on top of the world. He was the darling of Silicon Valley, the face of a new financial revolution. But as we'll see, even the shiniest facades can have some pretty dark secrets lurking beneath the surface. So FTX is like this rocket ship, right?
Yeah.
SBF is the golden boy. Investors are throwing money at him.
They are?
Left and right. Everything's coming up roses.
Yeah.
Or so it seemed. Not so fast.
Yeah.
This is where Oliver starts, pulling back the curtain, and things get really, really interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Because under the surface, cracks were starting to show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about FTT, FTX's own token.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for exchanges to have their own tokens.
Yeah.
But the way FTX was structured, the value of FTT became deeply intertwined with the company's success.
Yeah, it's like this feedback loop, but a very risky one.
Yeah. And get this, Oliver mentions an FTX employee who realized just how vulnerable the company was. Because of this FTT situation, this employee noticed how the price of FTT was basically riding the wave of social media sentiment with people on Twitter. Were feeling bullish about FTX. The price went up, but if there was any whiff of doubt, any negativity, down it went.
Wow. So their face is kind of hanging out a few tweets.
I know, it's crazy. But it gets worse.
Okay.
Remember SBF's trading firm, Alameda Research? Well, the plot thickens. When you look at the connection between FTX and Alameda,
how close they were.
It wasn't just that SBF was running both companies. It was the level of financial entanglement between the two. We're talking billions of dollars in loans, with FTT being used as collateral.
Oh, wow. So it's a house of cards built on top of a house of cards.
Exactly. And you have to wonder, how did this go unnoticed for so long?
I don't know.
I think part of it was just the sheer exuberance surrounding crypto. You know, everyone was so caught up in the potential gains that they weren't really looking at the bigger picture.
Right. They weren't looking at the systemic risks.
Right. And Oliver brings up this interview with SBF where he talks about this concept of a box in the crypto world.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. SBF describes how the value of some crypto ventures is basically derived from their relationship to each other, not from any real-world value.
Right.
It's this circular ecosystem where everything is interconnected. And the danger is when one piece of the puzzle starts to crumble, it can trigger a domino effect, bringing the whole thing crashing down, which is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
The collapse of TerraUSD and Luna, another big player in the crypto space, this sent shockwaves through the entire market. It was like a wake-up call, exposing just how fragile this interconnected system really was.
Right.
And then enter CZ, the head of Binance. Yeah. Remember him from earlier? He'd had his run-ins with SBF and FTX. Well, CZ sends out this tweet expressing concerns about FTX.
Okay.
And that single tweet was like lighting the fuse.
Wow.
It's incredible how much power one tweet can have these days.
It really is.
It was like the ultimate display of market manipulation in the digital age.
Right.
People panicked. There was a run on FTX. Everyone trying to withdraw their money all at once.
Oh, no.
Just like that, the house of cards began to crumble.
Yeah.
SBF tried everything to save FTX, reaching out to investors, even competitors. But the damage was done. Nobody wanted to touch it.
Right.
Can you imagine that pressure?
Oh.
One day you're a visionary, a genius. The next you're scrambling to salvage what's left of your empire.
Yeah, it's a classic tale of hubris. And the perils of unchecked ambition.
Yeah. The company filed for bankruptcy. SBF was eventually put on trial, and we all know how that ended.
Right.
Guilty on all charges. The FTX crash, it wasn't just about one company's downfall. It exposed the dangers of unchecked greed, blind faith in charismatic leaders, and the very real need for greater transparency and accountability in the world of finance, especially in the world of crypto.
It's a reminder that when it comes to investing, a healthy dose of skepticism is never a bad thing.
It's a cautionary tale for all of us. No matter where you stand on crypto, the FTX crash was a major moment in financial history, and its ripple effects are going to continue to shape the way we think about investing, technology, and the future of money for years to come.
Yeah.